I'm about to embark on one of the most awesome of all woodworking tasks, unboxing a new tool. I've done tool reviews before, but I'm not sure I've ever started with an actual unboxing. Today, I'll be unboxing and reviewing my new Wen strip and disc sander. No, it has nothing to do with that kind of stripping. Get your mind back on track. My first job after graduating from college was as a management trainee for Jewel Food Stores in Chicago. It was there that my practical education began, and I was presented with one of the simplest and humblest, yet most useful tools of the trade, a box cutter. It felt good in my hand. It held a brand new razor-sharp blade but I digress. I slid through the packing tape and opened the carton. There was nothing loose in the box. Some styrofoam packing with some parts in a compartment was on top, and the instructions were in a protective plastic sleeve. I set the parts aside and removed the molded styrofoam piece. Sometimes it's best to turn the box over and slide the contents out, but in this case, it was easy to lift the sander out and hold it with one arm while I moved the box out of the way. The entire machine was covered in plastic, and, as always with new tools, the power cord was neatly folded and held in place by a plastic tie. I set the sander on top of my workbench while I removed these impediments to progress. A quick inspection revealed solid construction and no signs of damage or loose parts, so I proceeded to the commonly skipped step of reading the instruction manual. You never know when you learn something useful. Oops, I learned something already. The manual's wrapper wasn't sealed on the bottom, so the booklet slipped out and onto the floor. I'm at an age where when I drop something, before I bend down to pick it up, I decide whether I need the item. In this case, the answer is yes, so I retrieved the booklet from the floor. I skipped to the relevant page and began reading. I was already one step ahead of the manual writer, as I'd already unboxed the sander, but the unboxing instructions included some advice. They read, "With the help of a friend or trustworthy foe, carefully remove the sander." Okay, that has to be one of the best unboxing lines ever. Now I want to read the rest of what the booklet has to say. The following section contained a list and a diagram of all the parts, so I unpackaged them and ensured everything was there. It's always a good idea to double-check the contents and familiarize yourself with the parts before you start assembling the tool. My recent experience with the joiner made me hesitant about assuming what went where. I had to disassemble the joiner way too much and put it back together, so I don't want to go through a similar experience this time. 4 years of college and 7 years of graduate school teach you a lot of things, but assembling tools is not one of them. I sped up the next section because it took a painfully long time to install the part that locks the belt sander table at 90 degrees or any other desired angle. The locking mechanism only needs to turn about 90 degrees to lock the table once it's in place, but it must be positioned almost to that point before the table can be installed. I'm not sure why this type of assembly is always a mystery to me, but I usually fumble with it for way longer than I should. Anyone with the intelligence of an eggplant can figure this out faster than I can. I extend my sincere apology to any eggplants I may have offended by that last remark. The orange plastic part that's the dust collector for the disc sander is attached with several included Phillips head screws. I got down on one knee to make that attachment and found that it was a mistake for two reasons. The first is that getting down on one knee on concrete is not a good plan for an old man. The second is that the light wasn't very good in that position. So I stood back up and tilted the sander into an easy position to attach the port. The last part of the assembly is the table for the disc sander. It slides in on an angle, and then you add two hand-tightened knobs to hold it at the desired angle. I have assembled enough sanding disc tables to make this a no-brainer, although I did fumble around a little until I was able to properly align the bolt with the hole on the table's right side. With everything in place, the last thing I did was to bring over my little aluminum square to set both tables precisely at 90 degrees before locking them in place. For the planned uses I have for this machine, virtually all of the sanding will be edge or end sanding at 90 degrees to the surface, so I want these firmly set and locked at that angle. I moved the sander to the workstation behind me and plugged it in between the Bauer 12-inch disc sander. You may wonder why I wanted another sander, and I'll explain shortly. I did a quick check to see if either dust port would attach directly to my shop vacuum. Unsurprisingly, neither one did, so I may have to check into adapters once I learn how much dust this little tool spews out. I've got a glue up for a Jeep Wrangler, and the top here is not bad, but it's not perfect either. I also want to clean up this inside section. I purchased this sander for situations exactly like these, which are too small or situated where the disc sander or wider belt sander can't reach. The first thing I noticed when I turned on the sander was that it's not very noisy. The Bauer disc sander, along with the shop vacuum, requires hearing protection. The Delta machine is not loud, but the sound is high-pitched and whiny, so I use hearing protection with it. The sander is quieter than either of those, but I still think wearing hearing protection is advisable because hearing loss is a cumulative process. The sanding strip applies downward pressure to the workpiece, allowing for easy control with the table underneath. I found that I got the best results when I moved the workpiece from left to right, as opposed to moving it in the other direction. I wasn't able to connect the vacuum, but I wasn't getting much dust coming out from the dust collector into the air, so dust collection may not be a necessity. The strip sander is narrow, allowing it to produce a relatively small amount of sawdust. This sander is allowing me to do exactly what I hoped, and that's to get into some relatively tight spaces. These would be inaccessible with any other electric sander that I already have, and they'd take forever to sand by hand. I should mention at this point that only one strip of sandpaper came with the machine, but they are inexpensive and available in several different grits. I ordered a package of extra belts at the same time as the sander, and I'll leave a link in the description. The main assembly for a Jeep Wrangler I'm currently building is a perfect test of the Wen strip sander. It enabled me to reach areas I could not access with any other tool in my collection. By the way, I'm still working on the Jeep. There will be a complete video on that build soon. There's an area here that's calling out for the drum sander, so I'll work on that soon. There's another small area I can get to here with the Wen, so I'll touch that up now. This sander is light, but the rubber feet keep the tool from wandering around on the bench top while I was using it. I like that I don't have to screw it to the bench top to make it usable. Although partially made from plastic, the Wen strip disc sander is solidly built and appears to be durable enough for reasonable small shop use. I did not attempt to change the belt, so I can't attest to how easy or how difficult that task would be. The manual is thorough, plus it had one funny line in it, and there's a toll-free number and a website to consult should you have any questions or problems. My final thoughts are these. Although I know I have enough projects where this tool will be helpful and even necessary, it's unlikely that every shop needs one. This is one of those tools you needn't purchase until you reach the point where you can find enough uses for it to justify the modest purchase price. Or you're an old dude like me who can afford most of the toys you want. I'm interested in reading your comments. I took a lighthearted approach to the tool review and had a little fun with it. I don't know what sort of projects you make. Is this a maybe or a must-have tool for your shop? I've left an affiliate link in the description in case it's the latter. I have a toy set, an unusually shaped bookshelf, and another tool review video scheduled, so be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Until then, 2 suggestions for what to watch next are on the screen. So pop open a can of your favorite beverage, sit back, and watch some more DIY woodworking.